Startup versus MNC, which one pays more in the long run? This is not about money, it's about fear. Let me start with a confession. Most people don't think about pay rationally, they think about it emotionally. Not how much will I earn, but what if I fall behind? What if I can't afford the life I want? What if I regret this career decision? What if I never catch up? So when people ask us, startup or MNC, which pays more in the long run, they are not asking us about spreadsheets. They are asking which choice makes me feel safer about my future. The first misconception is that long run pay is about salary. Most people compare CTC, month in hand, offer letter, but this is short term thinking. This is not long term thinking. Then what is long term all about? As I said, long run pay is not about salary. It's about how money is generated, how it will grow, what is the cap or the ceiling that you will have in a particular role, and how risky it is. How much of it is really real, money that you are actually going to get in your hand and not be tied up in bonuses and stock plans. Two people can earn the same today and live completely different financial lives in 10 years. The second misconception is that startups pay high whereas MNCs pay low. Startups don't pay more, MNCs don't pay less. They pay differently. And if you don't understand the structure, you'll misjudge everything completely. Let's talk about the MNC pay and how it really works. MNC pay is designed around control and not upside. You usually get a base salary which is predictable and it comes every month in your bank account. This is safe. You are not anxious, you know the money is coming. This type of money is called survival money. You survive with this money. Then you might get annual raises. 3 to 6% is typical for inflation correction. 8 to 12% you get in when you have a great year in your company. 15 to 20% is extremely rare. This is inflation management, not wealth creation. What about promotions? This is where the real jumps happen. But promotions are slow, as you know. They are political. A boss may like somebody or might have to promote somebody else because the boss's boss wants that to be the case. There is a budget, how many people can be promoted because they have to be paid a salary. Promotions are scarce. And many people wait years to get promoted. Promotions are not sure either. What about bonuses? Are they guaranteed? Of course not. They are often discretionary and they are often cut first when the company's performance dips. Some people have restricted stock options and it sounds very exciting, but most people misunderstand them. They are locked, vesting based, tied to company stock performance. They are exposed to market cycles. They are deferred salary, not some kind of magic money that will suddenly fall in your lap. Why does MNC pay feel safe? Because it is predictable, it is budgeted, it is stable, and it is bank friendly. This matters more than people admit. If you have loans such as home loans or car loan, then you have to pay EMI. And EMIs don't accept future payment. They have to be paid now. But here is the MNC problem. MNCs have got pay bands. What does that mean? They don't pay you what you are worth. They pay you what the band allows. So what happens? Your value might rise faster than your salary. And because your salary is not rising fast enough, it creates frustration. You start feeling underpaid and undervalued. This is not because you are unlucky, but because the system is designed that way. We recently had someone come to us at Career Earth. His name was Aman and he works in a large firm. He had put in 8 years in the company. He was a great performer. But his salary growth was 5%, 7%, then it went down to 6%, went up to 8%, and he switched. Suddenly he got a jump of 40%. And why is that? Not because he improved overnight, because internal systems suppress salary growth. External markets reveal the gap and use it to poach people from one company to another. Now let's talk about startup pay and how it really works. Startups don't promise money, they promise the possibility of getting a lot of money. And that's dangerous. Startup pay has two parts. There is the cash part and the equity or the stock part. The cash part is obviously lower, and the equity part makes it very, very uncertain. Then you have got ESOPs, sweat equity, and all that jazz that you hear about. Let me talk about a few of these. ESOPs, you get the right to buy shares later at a fixed price, over time, and only if you stay with the company. They are illiquid and they are uncertain. The ESOPs may or may not convert into money. And that is one of the biggest challenges. They are like lottery tickets, not salary. Then you hear about sweat equity. And it sounds very heroic. But what does it actually mean? You are trading current pay for future possibility. Most of the time, the future never comes. So that is why it is heroic, because you are trading your current pay with the future. And then you have dilution. Every time the company raises money, your percentage shrinks. Even if the company grows, your slice may not grow. Then we have something called vesting. You don't own your equity, you earn it over the years. So if you quit early, you lose most of the equity that you have. So the whole idea is stay longer, work longer, and as the company does well, slowly convert your equity into money. You might have down rounds in which the valuation of a company is lowered by the venture capitalists and your equity loses paper value. The biggest startup illusion is when people say, my ESOPs are worth X. No, they are not worth anything until there is an exit of the company by an IPO or a sale, if it is not liquid. So most startups never exist, most never offer liquidity. This is not pessimism or thinking negatively. This is the maths. You can't help but see it. Sometimes LinkedIn also confuses you. You only see the winners. You don't see the 90% who walked away with zero. This is survivorship bias. It distorts your expectations. Most startup employees don't get rich because equity is diluted. Exits are rare. Sale of a company from X to Y or an IPO. Employees are not founders. The liquidity that you're expecting is very delayed. Cash is low. And mostly the founders win. Some early employees win too if you are in the founding team. Most get great stories, not great money. And that is the significant difference between MNC and startup. One of our clients recently joined a early stage startup. She took lower cash for ESOPs. She worked there for 5 years and the company shut down. Her ESOPs came down to zero. She didn't fail. She just participated in a high risk system. So which pays more in the long run? Isn't that what we were asking in the beginning? Wrong question. The real question is, which structure matches your risk tolerance and life stage? Every role pays you in four ways: base pay, which is your survival money; growth pay, which is promotion and raises; leverage pay, which is ownership and decision power; optionality pay, future freedom, the option to go and work somewhere else. MNCs are strong in 1 and 2. Startups can be strong in 3 and 4, but often are not strong in that area. So the anxiety that people talk about is that I am safe, but I am stuck in an MNC. In a startup, I am growing, but what if this fails? Both the anxiety are real, the MNC anxiety and the startup anxiety. Then you have family pressure, which is also real. Some people can't afford volatility, not because they lack ambition, because they have got parents, they have got siblings, they've taken loans, and they have responsibilities on their shoulder. Stability is not a measure of failure or cowardice, it's context. Sometimes stability wins over taking risks. Then we have got lifestyle inflation trap. Have you heard of this before? People join MNCs, buy cars, take loans, upgrade their life. Now they can't take risks, not because they are weak, because they are locked in. They have a certain type of a lifestyle which they cannot afford from a startup. Some MNC folks feel left behind, and we call it the late bloomer phenomenon. Then suddenly, because of the feeling of anxiety, they switch. Their pay jumps because deep skills become visible later. Slow compounding is real. So stay with an MNC, develop deep skills, and then change over to a startup. We have a trap called the fast starter trap. Some startup folks start high, then they plateau because chaos didn't convert into leverage. Most people don't want wealth, they want peace, predictability, dignity, and freedom. Money is just a proxy. If they have the money, they'll be able to get all the other things we talked about. So when people come to Career Earth, we say the following: startups don't automatically make you rich. MNCs don't automatically make you poor. There are different financial machines. If you don't understand the machine, you'll misread the outcome. Therefore, the goal is not to earn the most. The goal is to regret the least. At Career Earth, we don't tell you what to choose. We help you understand what you are choosing so you make the right decision. If this makes you uneasy, then it is a good thing. That means you are finally thinking about money in the proper way. As I often say, clarity hoga to growth hoga to career hoga. Stay tuned at Career Earth.